Hello and a warm welcome to the special program on the Federal Capital Beat, where today we'll talk about as to what's happening in Pakistan, where the political situation seems to be in a flux. Shehbaz Sharif government there has been trying to arrest former cricketer and Prime Minister Imran Khan, but has failed to do so. For the last 24 hours, the city of Lahore had turned into a battlefield where we saw how Imran Khan supporters clashed with the police. There were images of tear gas shells, live firing, and shelling. Now, everyone is asking, will Imran Khan get arrested or will he surrender? That's the million-dollar question. And joining me now is a very special guest from Islamabad, veteran journalist Shahzeb Jilani. So Shahzeb Jilani has been a veteran journalist. He's worked with BBC for 15, 16 years. He was with Deutsche Welle, Germany, and currently he is hosting a show on Dawn News, which is a late evening show, a current affairs show. Thank you so much, Shahzeb, for coming on Federal. My first question to you is, and it begins with the latest news, and that is that Islamabad court has reserved its order on the bail plea of Imran Khan. So do we see this as some kind of an interim relief to Imran Khan?
Imran Khan has been playing delaying tactics by not appearing before the court in this case. This is a case about foreign gifts which he received as the Prime Minister, but he did not declare it. He sold it in open market. And then he deposited some money in what is known as the treasury or the Toshakhana. The case against him is of misdeclaration, which, if proven, if he's found guilty, can disqualify him. This is a case where he has not appeared in court numerous times, and finally the court issued orders to the police to arrest him and bring him on March 18. That is why the police had gone to his home in Lahore, where he basically did not come out. Instead, he called on his supporters to resist the police. And we saw television pictures, live footage. His supporters were armed with sticks. They threw stones on the police. They essentially attacked the police. The police were quite restrained, but in the end, they had to fire water cannon, they had to fire tear gas, and the mayhem and the chaos we saw on our screens all day yesterday.
Shahzeb, I'm really curious to know from you that the police said that there was a Pakistan Super League cricket match today in Lahore, and they cited this as the reason why they retracted. So was this the main reason, or probably the police realized, or maybe the Shehbaz Sharif government must have realized that the kind of resistance which has been put forth by Imran Khan supporters, probably they'll have to bite the bullet? Was that kind of a realization?
Nobody is really buying the excuse given by the caretaker government in Punjab that this was because of the PSL or the cricket team's movements. Essentially, what happened yesterday was the police were outnumbered. Imran Khan has a very effective, robust social media machinery through which they were constantly calling on people to arrive at Zaman Park for his protection. The government is saying that Imran Khan is essentially using his supporters as a human shield to protect himself, but he's willing to put them forward for violence, for clashes, even if they get hurt. This is not something we've seen in Pakistani politics before. You know, Pakistani politics has been through all sorts of crises and military rule and resistance and protest and all that. But effectively all, or if not all, most of our political leaders, whether you like them or you hate them, have never resisted in this manner. They have been politically victimized. They have been charged with cases.
Shahzeb, are you saying that the biggest strength of Imran Khan right now is his popularity on the social media, and because of which he's able to garner so much support?
Well, he knows how to use the media effectively to his advantage. So even when he's on a weak wicket, he turns it around to paint himself as the victim. And in this particular case, he has used social media effectively, WhatsApp groups, Twitter, other social media platforms to get people to come out on streets to protest for him. Now, this is actually a very simple procedural thing that the police would have gone to him. They would have taken him into custody. They would have taken him to Islamabad, presented him before the court, where he would have, in all likelihood, he would have gotten bail, and he would have carried on. The problem in this particular case is if he appears before the court, he will be indicted. And if that happens, then the procedure, the court procedure carries on. And from the legal experts that we have spoken to, they are saying this is a fairly open and shut case, which means the case against him is pretty strong. And as soon as he appears before the court, this case could be decided within months, if not weeks, and he could be disqualified.
No, but
And he's
is
trying
there,
to dodge that.
Shazib, but is there a confusion on the fact that whether he will appear before the court or not? I also saw it on the social media. He's saying that, he's given a surety bond to appear before the court. Now, what does that mean? I mean, are there any doubts whether he'll appear before the court or will he appear virtually? What are we to understand, really?
So his point of view is that I've been a target of an assassination attempt back in October last year when he was leading an anti-government march. He's saying my life is in danger. If I go to that particular court in Islamabad, I will be attacked. If I surrender to the police, they will, in all likelihood, torture me or kill me or humiliate me. And that is why he feels justified in doing what he's doing. Right? Now, the court is saying that unless you appear before the court, the case cannot proceed. And the court, from so far as we can tell, is saying that he will have to appear. He's also offered to appear via video link, but it's not something that the court has agreed to yet.
Right. So, which means that the suspense remains over two things. One is whether he appears before the court, and the second, will he get arrested or will he surrender?
Right. So, what happened in Lahore on Tuesday, Wednesday, he is quite determined not to allow police to take him, right? And he's willing to go to any extent. This is hugely dangerous because anything can happen. People can get killed. It could plunge Pakistan into a bigger mess than it already is in. But Imran Khan thinks it's all worth it. He thinks, so be it. But I am not going to surrender myself to the police or to the court. So what the police did yesterday, after they were overpowered or dominated by Imran Khan supporters, they decided to back off. A court has told them not to proceed until 10 in the morning tomorrow, right? So the government and maybe the law enforcement is rethinking how are they going to do this without bloodshed, without a bloodbath in Lahore. And the question is, if they are able to arrest him, they will be following the law. But if they don't get to arrest him, then it puts a big question mark on rule of law in Pakistan, which means that anyone else in this country, if a court issues a non-bailable warrant, can be arrested, except for people like Imran Khan, who can surround themselves with their supporters and refuse and say, we are not going to obey the law.
Right. I'm also a little confused, Shazib, about this order which has been reserved today, because I was reading it on some websites where it says that the court has asked probably the police also not to, they have to stop any of its operations outside Imran Khan's house. Now, does the order say so?
Yes. So the police has already said that they will not be approaching Imran Khan's house until tomorrow. And like you said earlier, they are using a different excuse. They are saying it's because of the team's movement and their security, and so we are kind of backing off. It is a face saving, but it raises questions about the writ of the law and the state, and whether this will be implemented across the board, or some people like Imran Khan can resist it, defy it, refuse to follow the process. So either way, the government looks exposed, because if it uses force, there's a fear of bloodbath. If it doesn't proceed with compliance of the court order, then the state looks weak. So, by any stretch of imagination, this does not look good for Imran Khan. It does not look good for the government. And I will remind you, all this is happening at a time when Pakistan is struggling to avoid an economic default, an economic meltdown. We are all-time high inflation. The rupee has been devalued significantly in the past 6 months. Your factories are closing down. There is no end in sight. And instead of addressing those issues, putting our heads together, what we have on our TV screens is this chaos and mayhem happening in Lahore, thanks to Imran Khan.
But what are the options now? Let me begin by asking you about Imran Khan. What are the options before him? He's already exhausted a number of options. Jail bharo, then he took out a march. All those tactics he's tried. Now, what option does he have? Or rather, to put it in some other words, what is going to be his next move? Is he going to easily surrender, or will he be ready to get arrested?
The right thing to do would be to give himself up to the judicial process, to the courts, because he keeps saying in his speeches that, for example, he has issues with the military leadership. He has significant issues with the opposition. He does not recognize the government. He regularly criticizes the media. The only trust he has in the courts, because there are judges in our superior courts who are sympathetic to Imran Khan, to his movement, to his politics, and that's where he's looking to get any relief. Now, despite that, he's refusing to appear before the court in this particular case, because he fears that he will be indicted and he will be disqualified. So how long can you dodge the law? For example, politicians are guilty of delaying tactics, and we've seen this with other politicians and even prominent leaders. Delaying is one thing, but refusing to submit yourself to the law is a completely different thing. And this is a person whose party is called Movement for Justice. PTI essentially means Tehreek-e-Insaf, means Movement for Justice. He constantly talked about that everybody should be equal before the law. And yet, through his actions, he's saying, I'm above the law. I'm special. I need special treatment. I cannot be treated like other politicians because I'm popular. And if you agree to that, then how do you run a country?
Shazia, but what is the reason for this kind of a confidence of Imran Khan? Does his confidence only rests on one point, that he's been a very, very popular cricketer and the popular mood is with him? Or is there any other reason because of which he's so confident?
So if you look at Imran Khan's politics over the last 1 decade, last 10 years, his rise became possible because of his closeness to intelligence chiefs of the time. He was close to the successive ISI chiefs who propped him up, who supported him, who paved the way for him to become the prime minister, through political engineering, through decimating his political opposition. So he has relied heavily on them. Now, there's no denying that in the process, he has resonated with a huge segment of Pakistani population, the middle class, women, young gullible people, people who generally despise the mainstream parties, who are not necessarily involved in mainstream politics. They have gravitated towards him. Today, he's popular. There is no denying that. But he's not popular enough to become the prime minister, some would argue. And for that, he wants to win over the military establishment. The delaying tactics we are seeing, this whole chaos we are seeing, there's a belief out there that he's trying to, through these optics, he's trying to pressurize the military to engage with him. Now, after General Bajwa retired in November last year, the new army chief and the new DG ISI they have so far seemingly refused to engage with Imran Khan. He has sought meetings with them reportedly. He's tried to reach out to them through the president. The president of the country is from Imran Khan's party, but those attempts have not been successful because the army leadership feels that whatever we did in propping him up as a leader, it has damaged the country, it has damaged the army, and it has damaged the economy as well. So they are not falling for it. But Imran Khan can only try by causing, chaos, polarization, diverting attention from real issues, paralyzing politics, so that they feel that unless we engage with him, this will continue, and a bigger crisis could be waiting for us if something happens to him. In this chaos, anything can happen, and it's the last
Absolutely.
thing Pakistan can afford.
But what could be the imminent fallout of his arrest? What if he gets arrested on 18th March? What could be the repercussion which you are preempting Pakistan could see?
Well, listen, like I said, if he's arrested, he will be presented before the court, he will be indicted, he can then apply for bail, and he will be out, right? He is refusing to face, the judicial process in this case. He has over, I think, 80 police complaints against him all across the country. Many of them are frivolous, and they have been ostensibly these cases have been lodged to put pressure on him, to get him under pressure.
Shahzad, but when we say that he has 80 cases against him, he makes Imran Khan makes those kind of pronouncements that look here you have a Shehbaz Sharif cabinet where 60% of the ministers are out on bail. So he tries to counter and neutralize this whole thing, this his whole narrative.
Yeah. They are out on bail. They are facing those corruption cases. Some of them may be true, others are cases, false cases. But none of these politicians have refused to face courts. In fact, when Imran Khan was the prime minister, dozens of opposition leaders, parliamentarians, were facing court. They spent years in jail while Imran Khan was the prime minister. None of them ever resorted to this particular tactic where you're asking your supporters to become your shield and face violence while you are staying home safe, while you are, holding Zoom meetings and interviews with international media, portraying yourself as a victim and refusing to observe the law of the land. So if Imran Khan is arrested, it's, he will only be complying with the law, with something that he stands for. And if he hopes in judiciary, if the case is false, he will be acquitted. But if he has committed misdeclaration, he has violated the law, then he should be punished. I think that's what law-abiding citizens in this country want to see. The problem is his supporters believe that he's a messiah. He can do no wrong. And any allegations against him are all baseless. So when you have that kind of a view, how will the country move forward? At the moment, he's the only politician who's holding the government hostage. All other politicians, they are in alliance. They recognize the problems facing this country. These are existential crises we are talking about. This is not a routine, economic challenge, and you will come out of it. The IMF is holding Pakistan by the neck right now. They're refusing to offer the bailout package unless there is political stability. I can tell you in the last 1 year, the amount of poverty I have seen around me grow. More and more homeless people, more and more unemployed people, people who are in jobs, they can't afford their food supply, the electricity bill, the petrol. This country is in serious crisis, but it is not reflected in the conduct of our leaders, especially Imran Khan.
But there is another narrative, and that is that all these political parties. I'm talking about the Shehbaz Sharif government. That all of them have come together so that Imran Khan doesn't stand a chance to contest elections. Now, will you really buy this kind of a narrative, which is being floated, which is quite much there on social media?
Look, it's true that they are quite worried about his popularity, about his return, right? Uh, but I have always said you cannot eliminate him by hook or crook. If at all Imran Khan is taken out of the picture, it has to be done politically. Or if the judiciary acts independently, if the case is genuine, if he's disqualified, then that's that, right? The problem is when we saw Nawaz Sharif being disqualified, the judiciary was compromised. It was at the behest of our military leadership who wanted to pave the way for Imran Khan to become the next prime minister. Right. In this particular case, so far there is no evidence that anyone is leaning on the judiciary, right, to disqualify Imran Khan. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it's not the so be it. Then he can go on and contest election. And I'm saying if he gets 2/3 majority, we all have to accept it, whether you like him or you don't like him, you agree with his politics or you're not. If these are free and fair elections and he is genuinely popular, he's voted into office, fine, fair enough. But what what he can't do is that you can't bring the country to its knees because of your narrow personal political interest. And that is precisely what seems to be happening right now.
So the future of Imran Khan totally depends on what happens in the court. Maybe on 18th March, are you expecting some kind of a finality in Imran Khan's case?
No. So if he appears, he will be in all likelihood indicted, which means it is the beginning of a process. He will be charged. Then he will have a chance to defend himself. There are witnesses. They will be brought. And the reason I said this case will not take years. It will probably take a few months or weeks. Is because there are few witnesses. We are not looking for like 50 or 100 witnesses. They are probably less than a dozen or so, right? And that is why, and he knows this. His team knows this, that this is a fairly straightforward case in which there is strong likelihood that he will be disqualified. He wants to avoid that. He wants to create circumstances and pressure.
But if he knows this, then why is he trying to avoid the court? He might as well just appear before the court and let things be expedited as soon as possible. It probably could be in his favor as well.
No, he doesn't want to be disqualified. That's why he's not submitting to the process. If he submits to the process, he will be disqualified. And he wants the cases to disappear. He wants his whole gripe with the army establishment is that why aren't you supporting me like you always have? That's his issue with the army. It's not that we want you to be neutral and we want you to be out of politics. It's about you need to interfere in politics on my behalf, like you did before. That's what he's looking for. He's looking to cut a deal with the army. But so far, they are not overtly getting involved in this mess.
Right. So what about the chances of Imran Khan fleeing from Pakistan? Do you see that possibility as well?
Highly unlikely, because Imran Khan has built his career and his whole political standing on the premise that I don't go abroad, I don't have properties abroad, I'm invested in this country, I live here, I'll die here. So he's highly unlikely to flee. But then again, in Pakistani politics, never say never. When Nawaz Sharif did that, we thought, back in 1999, when there was a military coup, we thought Nawaz Sharif's career is over. People will never forgive him for escaping. And yet, a few years down the road, he comes back and he's the most popular leader in Pakistan. So my response would be that it is highly unlikely that he will escape. He will try to frustrate and paralyze, create a deadlock within the country, cause chaos within the country. He believes that will yield results because previously it has. And those tactics, he believes in, he's mastered them, his supporters are mastering them, and they believe that they can dictate any settlement through use of force, through street power.
But Shazib, supposing if 18th March he appears before the court and he's indicted and the process begins, but what if the PTI supporters, run havoc in the country? Are you expecting some kind of riots, some kind of lawlessness which could prevail? Or supposing even if he gets arrested, that same kind of lawlessness, are you expecting that kind of a turmoil in the country across cities?
So look, that depends on what he wants to do. If he says to his supporters, I'm submitting to the law, I want you to be peaceful, I want you to stay calm, I believe in the courts, and I will get justice, then it won't happen, right? But that, all evidence we have from last couple of days is he's actually inciting unrest. He's actually inciting something that looks like a civil war. He's been his audio conversations of his close aides have been released in which they are discussing. He's ordering them, bring more men, bring more people. If you want to contest on my party's platform in the next election, I want you to bring those, henchmen. In our political culture, every member of parliament or aspirant, they have those 10, 15 people around them. They are bullies. They operate in the name of security. They don't hesitate from using violence. He's been calling for those people to come to his rescue. So what we saw yesterday, oftentimes these weren't like ordinary citizens. Right. These were people who are, जिनको हिंदी में भी say gundas. These are people who are usually operating close to local sharks, politicians, MPs, and there's growing evidence to suggest that Imran Khan has told his party organization, I want these prospective ticket holders to bring these people so that we can resist and we can teach police a lesson.
So, as they say, there's never a dull day in the politics of Pakistan. Of course, all eyes would be on how the situation unfolds. But it was wonderful talking to you, Shahzeb Jilani, giving us a sneak peek as to what's really happening inside Pakistan. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure having you on the program. I want to appeal this interview. Share this video as widely as you can. Subscribe to our channel and stay tuned to the Federal. Thank you. Thank you, Shahzeb.
Thank you, Nilu. Bye-bye. Bye.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.